Hello everybody, B8 Factory and Game Girl here.
Hi all.
We are going to display another 10-player free-for-all on the Party of 10 Dine-In Only map. Let's go ahead and get started with this. Now I'll go ahead and start play and let it run through while I start the intro here. This particular system, for those that you don't know, I designed myself. It's made specifically for a 10-player free-for-all. Everybody has approximately the same distance between each player, and everybody starts with the same amount of mexes. There are some terrain separations in between a few players and some distance when there's not. So it gives some interesting gameplay you'll see here. Notable at this particular game would be, let's see, Alpha, because he and I have kind of a little bit of a rivalry going. So just to note that. But I'm going to go ahead and put it on my perspective and get started with this. So let's see here. I'm going to do a typical build that I start with. One of each factory, get my resources going, about 6 power generators, all the mexes in my starting, and I scout. I'm going to go ahead and slow this down and set up. That there we go. Now I'm scouting for several things. First of all, because I know Alpha's in here, I'm certainly looking to see if he's a neighbor. It makes a big difference. And I'm also scouting for Game Girl. I don't know where she is to start right now, but I do like to know where she's at. It gives me a little bit of extra intel as to what direction I need to go. So I've done my scout, and let's just pause it for a second and see what we saw. Now I'm going to rewind just a minute and see. I did notice there was a player here. It was not Alpha, so I moved on. I came across a player here, and I see right off the bat that he is generating bomb bots through 3 bot factories. Instantly in my head labeling this player as a warlord, and a warlord player to me is someone that is going to pick an opponent somewhere, and he's going to continue to war with that specific opponent the rest of the game until either he's dead or that opponent's dead. I could be wrong, but that's just what I'm generalizing. Looks like I also scouted at the same time white over here, and looking at it when I was in game, I see that he has a very solid opening, power, radar, and starting with a mix of, let's go ahead and play here. Yep. Mix of all 3 factories, so I'm going to label him as a decent player. I don't know what type of style he plays yet. Okay.
He's a player that knows he needs that to get started.
Yes, and that's enough for me to know that I'm not going to easily push over him. Now that I've scouted, what I typically do is decide what I'm going to do. This particular YouTube video I am going to label Silly Shenanigans and Solid Play. Here comes the Silly Shenanigans part. Now, caught a little more intel here. I see that the Warlord player, Blue, is heading down to the other opponent. That's good news for me. That means he's not going to be continually attacking me. With that in mind, I have decided to go ahead and do something silly. I'm going to go ahead and orbital rush him. Warlord players and also Jackal players and Warlord players are aggressive players that hit early and are bloodthirsty, and I kind of generalize that I can do certain things against them that I can't do against other players that have a little bit more knowledge or a little more intel or a little bit more game awareness of what's around them. So with a player like this that's not attacking me, I'm going to send some orbital factories over. I'm going to send those factories over here, and I'm going to reclaim everything I possibly can to kill him. Meanwhile, at the same time, I'm going to generate a full ground force that I'm going to go attack this white player, because I will certainly not be able to do something as silly as this against him. He will need ground units. So it's kind of going to attack 2 people at the same time, and I feel pretty safe about that. To prepare for that, I'm going to lay some mines right here in case he retaliates and comes across with bomb bots or with docks, which is what he's set up for with the 3 bot factories. That way I'm nice and safe there. So. And I have also decided to tech early. I usually do on a free-for-all. It gives you a huge boost on economy, and it's very, very, very handy. So let's go ahead and get this game moving a little bit faster. Okay. While that's happening, we'll go ahead and slow it down. Let's just look at the rest of the map while I'm starting that in motion. So, what do we got here? Dun, 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 dun. All right. Purple and white. Blue is indeed doing exactly what I thought. Yellow, here's Alpha down here. I don't know that in game for quite a while. Orange. There's Game Girl. Oh, look at this. Let me stop this for a second. I'm going to rewind some of this. Game Girl likes to go to the water. And so I know that if there's a body of water there with mexes in it, she wants to go hide there. Game Girl is what I would categorize as a cicada player. It's kind of like a turtle player, except that she finds a safe spot to hide and generates a tremendous amount of units and then just wakes up on her 17-year cycle and scours the globe, killing everything that she possibly can. So if she doesn't have the water, something happened here. Any comment on that?
I secured it with the hummingbirds. I didn't count on his commander walking through there.
Yes, let's take a look at that. So you are trying to secure it?
So any air scout would have killed, but since he walked as commander in there, I didn't have anything to help me with that.
Yep, that's a pretty smart move on his part to bring his commander in. A naval factory might have prevented that. The mexes are closer to him, so he's probably definitely interested in him. A bomber on your part could have done some damage to some of these units flying around. And yep, he's tearing you up right there. So that's how he gets that. Okay. Good to know. Brown player. Looks like he's heading toward blue. There may be some fighting going on here eventually. Pink and yellow. Looks like they might be having something going on. Okay. Northing it up. Alright. I'm going to get back to me. I will give a little bit of a spoiler. I did scout this at one point and saw that there was some combat going on here, which made it much easier for me to do this without much worry. But I'll put it back on me, and we'll speed this up and get on with the strategy. Forward, 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 forward. Okay. Setting up the minefield. As soon as this Tier 2 engineer comes out, I'll go ahead and get Marvel Factory and start working on that particular attack. Take a look at the economy real quick. 113, 92. So doing pretty well. Looks like Alpha, and that's not a surprise, is booming as well. I would expect that for sure. Okay. Now let's see. Now that I'm getting some Tier 2, I'd like to see kind of where we're at with that. He's still a little bit ahead of me. Interesting. I'll have to look at that later. On with the attack. When you do an orbital attack with a few orbital fabricators, you certainly need some vision to see what you're going to be eating. If you don't, then they're just going to build an umbrella underneath you, and that's it. Since I said earlier I'm going to be attacking 2 players at the same time, I went ahead and built a satellite to go look at white as well. Now I'm set up here. I'm set up here for a counterattack, but as I said, being a warlord player, he is just continually attacking one player. Don't know if he sees me there. Let's take a look. I don't know if any of you have ever been attacked by an orbital. It is absolutely annoying. He has no radar. He has no radar, and he does not even see that I'm above him. That's quite interesting. So here comes the orbital factory. I'm going to go ahead and take out his Tier 2 factory first. It's amazing how fast this sucker can eat it. And then I'm going to take out his fabricators and then all of his buildings, and then he's going to sit there sort of helpless.
Things just start disappearing, and you don't know why it's disappearing. He has no clue what's going on.
And he does now. He can see because of this radar, but he was commenting in game. I think I take that radar out eventually also. B8, how are you doing that? What are you doing? I think he thought I was cheating or something. It's kind of interesting. He must be a fairly new player. I feel a little sorry for him. But even so, with me attacking him, and he knows it's red because he said red, he never he never came through. Again, as I said, a Warlord player. They find a target and they just keep hitting it. It's interesting. But anyway, here goes the attack on white at the same time. Now, in this attack on white, I felt pretty confident. I didn't have to invest any ground units into this battle, and I know that they have been warring back and forth, so I'm fairly confident that my ground force, along with my tier 2, is going to be superior to his. That's the way I feel about it. So we'll watch this action here. Speed it up some. Move in slowly. I would like for him to kill his units upon mine. Keep my long range in the back so I don't lose it to these dots.
You really have to micromanage a lot of that. You can't just send them in.
I've noticed even good players sometimes do send them in. I think it is kind of a mistake. I guess it's really the perspective of what the player's doing. See, to my point earlier, I couldn't really get him with this because he is a decent player. Looking at his playstyle, he's probably a little bit of a strategist, maybe a little bit of an engineer. I say that because I happen to know that he ends up quitting, and I kind of think of that as more of an engineer type player. He's kind of done the math in his head. He knows he's gone. He's out of there. Engineer players are pretty good. They know what's going on. They know what to make. They know the build orders. Yeah, they're good players. He doesn't have any bombers here. It doesn't really scare me. Speed this up. Yes. Yeah, he's toast. There's nothing he can do about that. So with him gone, let's take a look at blue again. Yeah, blue is completely frustrated. He can't do anything. That is, I did feel a little sorry for him, but it did work. That was the intention. Now that I have this guy pretty much dead, and I occupy this base, and I'm right here. My next, strategically, what I was planning on doing then was pointing this direction with both my forces. And the reason I'm saying that is because I know that these two were warring before, so I'm expecting him to be a little bit weaker. And I've got a large ground force here and a large ground force here, so I didn't really lose a lot of units, so I think I should be able to overpower him pretty easily. And while I'm up here, I can also secure these mexes as well to have potentially 4 bases. So it is my typical triangle. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Alpha sees my fabricator orbital, and he's going to take them out. Even though I'm not attacking him with them, he knows that that is a valuable target, and that if I get that up, I'm going to secure this, and he does not want that to happen. So it's easy pickings for him. As a strategist, because he certainly is a strategist, he is taking that. Very, very good. It's a very good play. Blue's dead. I only had to send in one Geely to take him out. It really was not that difficult. On to purple. So with purple here, my goal is to move in here and sort of stage a siege here, and then move my other units in. Actually, I'm going to move them in through the gate here and come this way, and that's who's going to do the most of the damage. I'm not really worried about these because if they come around either way of this terrain right here, I've got these mines to protect them. So I'm pretty safe. That's the plan. And I also want to secure this up here to be sure, so I'm sending some fabricators over to do that. So let's put this plan in motion, skip it forward a little bit. This is kind of a long game. I don't want to spend too much time. I am micromanaging to target his long range, so I can try to keep as many units alive as possible. Those shells do a heck of a lot of damage. A little ball of death here and move my my long range back. That was able to save these units, whereas otherwise the Doxes would have taken out those units.
And had he had naval, you wouldn't be able to do that close.
That's right. He is gone. Good for me. I'm feeling pretty confident now. I have this base, I have this base, I have this base, and I have this base. So I have 4 bases, and it's it's 26 minutes, and it's actually pretty good time limit in the game. I actually thought it was faster, but I have been playing fast forward. You can see that Alpha is trying to hurt my resources. That's a nice thing about this triangle that I'm talking about. With this gate, I can easily address something like that and secure this. And I have a gate here to secure this. Gates, you cannot build enough gates. They are certainly important. So While I'm securing that, let me go ahead and slow it down, and let's take a look at the rest of the map again. See what's going on. I should have banging economy, 563. Wow, look at this. Alpha is at 754. Huh. I did not expect him to be that far ahead of me. He is certainly on his A game today, and he is nice and fortified. Wow, he's doing well. So we'll address that in a sec. Who else is next here? We've got Game Girl 222 and Orange here Himinen at 224 and Fungal 416 in third place. So let's take a look at that.
Fun glue.
Fun glue is also a cicada. This may look like a turtle, but this is not a turtle. This guy is massing tremendous units, and he is going to pick a target, and he is going to attack it. That is exactly what Game Girl does as well with air. He is doing it with ground. That is pretty crazy. And he's not expanding too much. He's not interested in that. I don't see that. He is getting some intel, so that's good. If I were him, I would certainly be worried about this player right here. Because if this player does get Navy, he does have intel on him, but if he gets Navy, he will be able to shell this entire base. But it looks like Alpha's done him a favor, so that's something. And Game Girl, look at her. She's got a pretty decent base here. I like this. We got the shellers in the middle, which can protect from all different directions. We've got orbital defense. We've got orbital radar. We've got this is great use of walls behind the point defenses. Got some air units. Yep, doing pretty well for not having the water. That is.
And I'm in a tiny, teeny little living space.
Yeah. All right, so let's get back to the game plan. I'm going to go north it up here. We'll put it back on myself. Up. Now, at this point in the game, I am thinking, all right, from what I can see, Alpha now knows where I'm at. He's doing a few little raids here on both sides. Alpha's my target. It's time to go to war, Alpha buddy. It is time to go to war. I'm going to pause this for just a second. So I just wanted to comment on something. When I label players, strategist, warlord, cicada, engineer, jackal, I do that not because I want to put a label on them. I do that because it's my way of classifying information that I've researched in the past from my own perspective. Give you an example. My younger days, I used to play a lot of poker, and I was pretty good at it. Played for a living for a couple years in Vegas, and before I was a software developer. And while I was doing that, you know, being a good poker player isn't everything. It doesn't make you successful at it. When you're playing good poker, you also have to identify which games to play. If you're an ego player and you want to go play nothing but good players, well, you're not going to generate a high income. If you're all about making money and you're a good player, then you have game selection. So when I look at game selection, I go look at the tables and I have to classify players based off of certain characteristics that I see them make. And those characteristics give me a general class of what that type of player is. And then I can say, you know what, rock, 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 rock. There's no money moving in this table. Even though I might be better than them, I'm going to move over to this other table because I have a better chance of making money. I bring that same type of philosophy to RTS free-for-alls. I classify players, a strategist or an engineer, and that gives me a sort of class where I've studied some games and think that this player has these type of characteristics, and then I can make decisions like I did before to say it's safe to go ahead and orbital attack this guy, and I can't orbital attack this guy. I could be wrong, but I think percentage-wise I'm okay. Or where I'm going to put my minds at, because this guy's got a loose and fast army that could hit me from multiple directions, whereas this guy coming in, I'm going to be prepared and have my army waiting to face him off. Stuff like that I'm able to do because of the classifications that I assign people and make those judgment calls in-game very quickly. So anyway, I just wanted to add that since I kind of throw those out there. Okay? So back onto the game and time to attack Alpha. Time for the fun. So here I am. I'm going to move in here and take out these resources. I also want to take out this, and let me tell you why I want to take out this. I'll pause it again. This is quite important. This is a very strategic point for Alpha. So you can see he already has something here, and it may be Navy. I don't have any intel on it. But if Alpha gets this lake and has Navy on it, that is a pivot point for him. So myself, I can't bring my force in because the Navy will decimate it. They have this big range here, and there is this spot right here in the map that I can't get through, so this choke point is covered. There's all of this stuff right here that makes choke points, so this choke point is covered. So if I want to do something, I have got to go all the way around. And that's fine, we do have gates and things like that. However, my army is going to be out of place. Say I put a gate right here. My army is out of place over here, guarded by what? What is it guarded by? And his army can come out right here on top of me, guarded by this. So this is a very, very strategic location, and it needs to be gone. That's why I'm attacking it. So, on to go. Oh, so here I am wanting to attack Alpha, and Brown's coming in. Now, this is interesting, because Brown is a Cicada player. And he has decided to choose war on me, and he has, from what I remember, a lot of units. Yes, look at this. Mobile units, 960 units to my 400. Alright. Sorry, can't attack Alpha. I want to attack Alpha, I can't. This has to be addressed. 970 units, Cicada player, hitting me hard. Looks like he's going to bring in multiple gates. Holy cow. I have to address that. So it is time to pull everybody in, circle the wagons, stay behind my minefield, and snipe him and shell him from a distance. These mines are interesting. You know, they're really good early game, they're really bad mid game, and they're really good late game. Because late game, when you get hit by somebody across the map, they don't necessarily have the intel on you, and this happens. Something that cost me very little is costing him a whole lot. A whole lot. Now he's probably going to identify that and build a radar. Yep, he already has. So here's the radar. So I'm going to pull in here and, like I said, circle the wagons around my particular base so that the shellers and the snipers can do everything they possibly can. You see him still streaming in here. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 gates streaming in units. I want to see a little bit more of this runs out. That is intense. So far it's going well. He's cleared out my minefield, and I still have quite a few units. Speed this up just a little bit. Oh, we got some tier 2 units coming in. This is something to be worried about. Look at that. I scouted out whenever I saw the tier 2 units because I wanted to see. Oh, look at this over here. Wow. He's getting kind of close now. If he has shellers and snipers, I'm in trouble. I scouted because I wanted to see if he did, because if he did, I'm going to use my snipers to out-snipe him and snipe his snipers before he can snipe my commander. Oh, he's lost radar again. Let me pause it for a second. I'll tell you why he lost radar again. I sent my fabricators over there, and I've been eating up everything he's building as fast as he can, including he tried to build a umbrella. I ate the radar because I want my mines to be active again. Look at this. He's building another one over here. He has definitely got it out for me. That is crazy. Let's put it back on here. So I lost a key building, but I haven't lost a whole lot of resources yet. It looks like it's thinning out some. You can see over here on the picture-in-picture that there's not much more coming out. There is some coming out here. I'm not worried about this, to tell you the truth. I have this minefield here, and I don't think that he's going to be able to stream enough units for me to worry about it. But he may if he builds multiple gates, but right now I'm pretty satisfied that I'll be able to kill these as they come out in a nice line. So that's good. This is thinned out. I'm not worried about that. Over here, this is to be worried about. If he builds more gates over here, he could be making my army zigzag back and forth, and he could pick me apart. Yep, that's what he's doing. I wanted to find out, so I went out and scouted it. Still have my fabricators trying to eat everything that's over there. Still not done a tremendous amount of damage to my base. Look at this. Alpha is just sitting off watching. I do remember him saying something when I was getting attacked about, wow, Brown has a lot of units. And he's right. Brown had a lot of units. So Alpha, the strategist, is sitting back, letting me kill these units. And let these units kill me. Look at this. Alpha may find every single minefield that I have laid down. I think that's beautiful. It doesn't often come together that easy. Yep, he's already hitting these two. I see Alpha, I mean Brown, I apologize. Let's see here. Mobile units, fungal, 130, B effector 306. So I had 400 to start, I lost 100. He had 900, heading to 1,000, and he's lost 900 units. That was a defense right there. That was a defense. Now that that's done, I go ahead and clean up, make sure that he can't come back with another set of units. I did notice when I was looking at his base before that he didn't expand, so I don't think he can generate another 1,000 units instantly, so it is now time to focus on Alpha. I'm worried about my resources here. I have my gate, so I am prepared. I do have a nice group of units because I have these vehicle factories, both Shellers and Geely, and I know Alpha likes Geely, so he's probably got a whole bunch of them back here. I know that after a few engagements with me in this particular map, he commented, "Alright, BA Factory, you have me sold on the Shellers. They are nice. They fire a little faster. They take out 3 or 4 Geelys at a time. They fire quicker. I definitely like them. They do a good job." Now that I can see them, and I try to get some scouts over here so I can see them, so I can target them. Otherwise, he would be targeting all of mine. He has no vision here. Put it on him. He can't target. He can target him, but he doesn't know what he's targeting because he does have a radar. So I'm going to go ahead and address that. And let's think about this for a second. Now, in game here, what I'm thinking is, I lost a lot of this. I'm thinking that Alpha was already ahead, and he has this, I'm sure. I still occupy this, and I still occupy this. I was behind Alpha. He has, wow, what I was talking about with this, he's doing it. So here he comes. I've got to address this with everything that I have. There's no doubt. I had decided in this game to build a nuke and some tier 2 air. I wouldn't normally do that, but I found myself in a situation where I had a lot of extra resources, and I don't have enough structures to build, so I thought this might give me a little ace in the hole since I am a little bit behind. For instance, I might be able to nuke this, or nuke a very large army and then take my smaller army in and make it through and try to snipe him. Something along those lines. I think I'm probably a little frazzled right now. If I were on my game, I might have a few docks to go ahead and address something like these mechs just to slow him down. He has a pretty sizable air force also. Alpha is definitely better off than I am, without a doubt. But I do have to address it. If I don't address it, it's going to be game over for me. So the nuke is probably what's going to save me here. I would love it if I could hit the nuke somewhere else, but unfortunately, that's the you have to address the situation at hand. This is where I'm going to be killed from, so let's take that out. Let's see what's going on. Okay. Take my fabricator over and also take his gate. That slows it down a little bit, so that's nice. Same thing that we had over here. I have these Shellers, which are going to make short work of his Geelys. Very expensive little army there he's losing. I have no doubt he's all over the map right now, so knowing his playstyle, this is just a little sortie. You know, it's not his whole army or anything like that. Oh. What is this? I do not have orbital radar. I lost it in this attack, and I did not realize that and have not built. Interesting. I need to get that up quickly. I don't even have a umbrella. Okay, I got the orbital factor, so that's good. Aha. Look at that. Look at that. The Cicada player switched gears and decided to go airborne.
Looks a little familiar.
It does look very familiar. It looks very familiar. I have a dun nuke as well. I actually saw that and wasn't scared because I know I have the flak to deal with it, and I had put some up right here as well, so I have plenty of flak. Unfortunately, though, what I wasn't thinking about was my commander. Look at this. I just boxed him in. My commander was wanting to run back there, and he can't. So that being, and this is important too, I actually am missing a little bit of health. So that's not good either. Originally when I saw this, I thought, I have enough hummingbirds and flak to deal with that. No problem. Let me just kill this, and I'll worry about him later. But I was mistaken. I think that this is the end of P8 factor in this game. And it looks like it's fairly close to. Rest in peace, P8. Wow.
Who all is left in the game at this point?
Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Keep it slow. Turn it on to everybody. Take a look here. Now, Alpha is running away in the economy. Game Girl's got pretty evil economy herself, 666. Funglu, 575. So it looks like, it's not a done deal economically for Alpha if these three players were to work together, but I'm not sure that's going to happen. So let's take a look. And also, I know that we had a massive amount of lag. Right about the time I left, we had Funglu kept dropping from the game, and every time he reconnected, the game just stalled to a crawl. It could have just been Alpha. He is unbelievably massive. Look at that. Wow. So
my computer kept stopping and stuttering. Even the voice on PA was stuttering,
okay.
And I couldn't do hardly anything with that.
Look at this. We got this much gameplay left, and I do know that a little bit of a spoiler now. Game Girl does lag out and her commander nukes. I know that, and there's about a 10 or 15 minute delay. And spoiler alert again, Alpha decides to quit also because it's just a waste of time. So kind of an anticlimactic ending to this. But before I do call it, let's take a look at something here. As I said in the beginning of this game, this was going to be Silly Shenanigans, which was all of my play, and now we're getting on to the solid play. Unfortunately, that's not me. That's going to be Alpha in this game. He has made some solid play. Let's take a look at his base. Is he covered from everything? So, nukes.
He has a lot of defense.
Pause this. You had just lagged out. So, nukes. He is done from nukes. Orbital. He has plenty of protection from orbital. Air raids from Game Girl. Looks like he's got that covered. Ground army coming in. He's got that covered on both sides. He even has some of this. His weakness. Now, his weakness, in my opinion, looking at this, is that I don't see any umbrellas, and well, he does have a ground force here, so that's good. But if someone did have a unit cannon and happened to land right there with enough units, and if he does move that, then that would probably be. But I'd say he's got a pretty solid defense about just about anything. Unit cannon's probably his weakest spot right here, but even that, I doubt it would do a whole lot of damage. So it's quite solid. And look at this. I would have liked to have seen in a situation like this where he builds. This is because a lot of players late game do have air to go around. They try to snipe this, but I think that at least two of these should be a point defense. At least two. To stop from
bot spam.
Yeah, bot spam. For sure. For sure. He's expanding. This is really good right here. This is definitely really good. I like that protection. And he's expanding. That's good. And looks like he's moving in on Brown, and got a little sortie here. This little special forces group going around killing economy. That's nice too. So yeah, solid play from Alpha. I'm gonna rewind all the way back here and just zip through this really quick and see what happens. So he starts off, and look at that. He must have insta-teched. Yes. And he's choosing an opponent to take out yellow. So let's go ahead. Lost that force. His tech is going to overwhelm yellow. So he's got two bases at 15 minutes. That's very good. Alright. See where he goes from here. Does he know? Alright, so here's the Silly Shenanigans. I knew Alpha was in this game. I knew he was. I knew he was in this game, and yet I chose a strategy Oh, he does not have radar yet. Wow. I thought perhaps that might have been my orbital, might have been a beacon to him to say, hey, B8's right over here. But he doesn't even have orbital defense yet, so that didn't quite happen the way I thought it would. Everybody on. Let's put it from his perspective, because I do want to see that kind of information. So he does now. Play. Fast forward. He sees that I'm attacking up here. He's expanding and taking this. He knows Game Girl. He knows what she's doing. He's played with her enough. He's also a nice guy. I mean, he may not attack her just because he knows her.
Well, he knows I'm not going to do an early attack anyway.
That's true. It's a very educated decision on his part. He definitely sees me, and he does see my orbital. So at some point, he did get that orbital radar up, and I'm basically saying, "Hey, look at me! I'm over here. Come get me." Yet I don't know where he is, and he knows where I'm at. So, and he knows who I'm attacking and where my base is. So he's got a lot of intel on me.
I will say the last time he came in early on my base, I switched everything to bombers and sniped him, and he was gone right at the beginning.
I remember that game. I do. I remember.
Maybe that's another reason he's attacking me first thing.
He got greedy. Took a ground force, came in. You went around back and took out his commander and took him out early. That was very good. So he looks like he's messing with orange. If he secures this path, that's good. And he's already secured this path, and that's good. And he can also even come for me from up here. So, yeah, he's got a lot of angles to hit me at. So, definitely very solid play. Very, very solid play. Expanding good, harassing the right players. Taking this guy out. Leaving you here. Now, this is something I do as well. Also, if he were to think of you as a turtle player, and I think of you as a cicada player, but the cicada turtle is very similar in this respect. If I'm in a situation where I have aggressive players elsewhere, and I have a player that I know is fairly predictable about they're not going to encroach on me in small increments, that they're going to come in one big force, I feel really safe from this side. I just feel really safe. He's preparing for what he thinks you're going to bring. And he's right. You do have a lot of air. You actually have more ground units that actually had this round, so maybe he didn't scout you.
Another thing that makes me feel safe is anytime I see somebody build a wall.
Yeah, when someone has walls on one side of you, it's a real good indication that they're elsewhere.
And talking about orange.
Same thing here, yes. Then you felt pretty safe, but nothing was really going to come from that way. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that. I want to look at you for just a second. I know that you lagged out here real recently. It's a shame because even though you don't have a large force attacking him, he might not have been super prepared for that. You might not have taken him out, but you might have done a lot of damage for sure. Let's get back on his solid play. He has a very, very nice base and has hit this with a lot of thought from a strategist perspective, I would say. Okay, let's go forward. Now, I'm about to be attacked. You see that here. And I'm watching it from his perspective, so he sees that also. And again, he had noted that the Brown had a lot of units. We looked up that he actually did have a lot of units. So he's coming back here, but he's not really messing with me right now. He's just fortifying, securing, and building up so that he can do the final blow, the killing blow. It's also very smart. Sometimes, Alpha, I'm a pretty aggressive player, but I do have some patience. I'm not sure. By looking at it, I would say Alpha has a lot of patience, and he's probably setting in for the long haul and wants to make sure he's going to win the game. That's what's important to him, winning the game. I also think taking me out is important to him, too. I could be wrong, but I think it's important to him. True, but I think when he takes me out, it's a trophy that he puts on his mantle. That's what I think. I have a few players like that. When I take them out, I have that trophy, and I like that. So this was a solid play. And again, I had given a spoiler alert that lagged out, and Brown lagged out also. So let me just forward this really fast. Lag out, and have it on his play. Open it up. I think we had determined. I stayed back and watched some of this, and I think we had determined that he was lagged out also, otherwise why is he doing this? That being said, I do know that orange at some point puts his units in motion. Yeah, see this? So orange stayed here through, what, 15, 20 minutes of the game while everybody else lagged out. Orange, turtle player, tortoise takes it. Slow and steady wins the race. That's what happens in this particular free-for-all. But it had some pretty interesting things. So, silly shenanigans and solid play. That's this one. Alright, time for us to get a game going on. Thanks a lot. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.